everybody.
Hello.
It's time for another X-Files by Moonlight. You ready?
I'm ready.
So this week's episode has an interesting title to it, and it is episode 7 of season 11. It is Rm9sbG93ZXJz.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Nathan, what did you think about the episode?
What did I think about? Well, let's say what it was about really quick.
Okay.
Before we get into spoilers, I guess.
Sure. This is a spoiler
this is basically the technology turns on the humans episode, but very specific to Mulder and Scully.
To this scenario, yes.
And, maximum overdrive and stuff like that, but more tech, iPhone type stuff,
right.
Like electronic type stuff like that.
It's a commentary on our current society.
Yeah, there was a movie when I was a kid I think it was called Runaways or something, and it was, I believe it was Tom Selleck, I could be wrong, and he was facing off against, like, in the near future, they used robots for everything, and they started turning on the people, or at least one of them did. Something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but something like that. And that's what I always think of when I think of the technology turning on people thing.
I always think when I think of technology turning on people, I immediately go to...
Technology turning on people?
Not what I meant.
Okay.
I immediately go to Maximum Overdrive for some reason.
Yeah. That's a fun movie. But what I thought of this episode, very simply, it was good, but that was a half-hour show material. Like, that was really stretched out.
You think so?
To be a full X-Files episode. They could have covered that in like a 30-minute, like, or like when I mentioned this to you, you said a webisode.
Right.
Yeah, that could have been like a webisode kind of thing.
It seemed, the way that it was put together, it seemed like it would have been something that would...
X-Files, the animated series or something.
Intro into something else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I really liked it. And I'll tell you what, I watched it, I liked it the first time I watched it, and then I saw it a couple more times, and I liked it even more. So the more times you watch it,
okay, I've only watched it once.
The more you like it. It's very
I thought it was, like, the opening and the closing I thought were really cute, were really good. But then all in the middle is a lot of the same thing, and it just goes too long for me.
Oh no, I enjoyed it.
But really maybe if I rewatched it.
And not be on your phone.
I didn't was I on my phone?
Yes, you were.
Last night we were trying to watch something and you were on the phone from beginning to end.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay. So do we want to get into spoilers?
Yeah, spoilers. Before
we get into spoilers, do you want to show what you got over there?
Oh, okay. So, no, we should wait till the end for that.
Wait till the end?
Yes.
Okay. A little surprise thing at the end that we're going to do until we run out of stuff to do it with, which is a little X-Files merchandise moment. But, okay, we'll save that for later. So let's talk about spoilers for this episode, which it starts out, Mulder and Scully are kind of on a date.
They are on a date. They are absolutely
did they establish that it was a date?
Yes, because
when I initially saw it, I was like, okay, they're coming back from work.
No. Well, the atmosphere that they were in, it seemed like that because they were very much into their phones and not really talking. This is a no talking episode, by the way. There's rarely any dialogue.
Well, they're the only two humans in the episode, weren't they?
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of
there's a little dialogue here and there, but let's just say a lot less dialogue than what Mulder and Scully usually.
Yeah,
I mean, Mulder and Scully are usually talking nonstop, so it felt a little awkward at first. But
this is very much a commentary about being on your phone all the time,
about how
stuff
everybody's
like
on their phone and not paying attention to what they're doing.
Although I also thought it was a commentary on Mulder and Scully being a generation too old for this technology blast.
Yeah, but still, I mean.
But I was half joking when I suggested that because they were very they did have a lot of technology, but they were very grumpy about it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But yeah.
But I mean, I'm way younger than Mulder and Scully, and I feel the same way. So I think it's just, the world is just going to hell. Anyway, so we start off with Mulder and Scully on a date in this high-tech sushi restaurant. And they're ordering, and they're just like looking on their phones and stuff, and
not saying a word.
Not saying a word, really.
They're ordering by computer screen. There's nobody in the restaurant.
Nobody else in the restaurant.
All.
No chefs. No
customers.
Well, we don't know if there's a chef yet. No customers. No waiters. Nobody taking their order.
It's all like a screen and everything.
Yeah. So finally,
which I don't know if there's really places like that now. I guess
I'm sure there is.
I've never been to a place like that.
There probably is. Yeah.
But yeah.
So they finally they get their food, and Scully's comes first. And
it's this nice looking
it looks delicious.
Sushi plate.
Oh my goodness. And then Mulder's comes out, and it's blobfish.
It's a blobfish, which if you don't know, a blobfish, it's got that face. Well, I believe we mentioned it kind of looked like Mulder.
No, don't say that. No.
That Walter Matthau face that kind of has been coming out on Mulder lately.
No.
But not that bad, yeah.
Don't say
that sort of bonobo monkey face, with the nose. It's like...
Not look like him. Anyway.
It did not look appetizing at all. Do people really eat that? I don't even know if that's actually something you could order.
I think what they were trying to say is that
the
messed
point
up
is,
the order.
yeah, the point is they messed up the order, and there's nobody to complain to because there's no waiter. There's nobody to send the food back to.
So Mulder gets up. First of all, Scully starts laughing, and it is so funny to see her laugh and interact like that with Mulder. And then she takes out her camera and takes the picture. And it's very interesting.
Yeah, that part was hilarious.
It's funny to see these two interact like that because this is our modern culture, and they're from the 90s, and we've never seen them do stuff like that,
Yeah.
So apparently somewhere Scully has an Instagram and Twitter and things like that, So that was really
funny. And
so Mulder gets up and goes to the back to talk to the chef, and he opens the door to the back room, to the kitchen, and it is just these robots.
It's like an Epcot Center robot making the food. Yeah.
You know how I am about robots. Like I love Wall-E. If you guys have ever seen Wall-E, I love Wall-E so much. His little eyes and everything. And this robot that was making the food, he almost had like a Wall-E like sad face. It was really cute.
Yeah, they were just like, they look up like, what?
Like, what? Who are you?
And so he just goes back to the counter, and he's just, do they decide to leave her?
Yeah, he's like, let's get out of here. And so he pays for the food, or he starts to pay for the food, and the little computer screen asks if he would like to put a tip in, and of course Mulder's like no, and he declines, and there's this little boom boom like from the computer, boom boom, like in Oregon Trail when you would die from dysentery.
He keeps asking him for a tip though, right?
No. It only asks once.
It only asked him once. Oh, it was like a sad face or something.
Yeah, and then it won't give him back his card. The thing will not give him back his card.
Yeah.
So, and then at that point, the whole restaurant starts to shut down. All the lights start to shut down. The doors start to go haywire. It seems like the place is gonna lock them in. And so, of course, Mulder and Scully are freaking out, and they go to the door to try and get out. And when they can't, Scully goes and grabs the chopstick, and she unlocks the door with a chopstick. And then she finally gets out, and Mulder realizes that he left his card in there. So, when you leave your card places, it sucks. So then Scully's, it's the electronic car, the driverless car, Whip. It was called Whips. And I don't think that really exists. I think they just made up some stuff for
You mean the brand name?
Yeah, the brand name.
Because they do have those driverless cars, yeah.
I think
and it's like name. Yeah, it's like a cab type thing.
So Scully is reluctant to get in, and Mulder is wondering about it too. But anyway,
well, doesn't he have he go home in his own car?
Right. He brought his car there, and so, which is also odd. I don't know why he didn't pick her up, but I guess they live in separate areas. Anyway, so the Whips comes and picks her up, and she's like, wait, Mulder, and the door shuts on her before she's able to talk to him. And then the Whips leaves, and she's in this car, and the Whips is asking her, you know, what can I do to make your experience more pleasurable? And she's like, just stop talking, which is exactly how I would be in one of those situations. Either that, or I would have been, you know, asking him to play Queen or something.
Oh, it kept asking her, do you want television? Do you want this or that?
She's like, no, just be quiet. And then it does a little sad face, you know? But then it just continues on the drive. And, which I don't know, have any of you guys been in one of these driverless cars? Because I don't know if it's actually like that, and that would be really interesting to find out.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So comment. But so they're driving, and Scully is getting a little anxious because the car is going way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast. And she's like, slow down, you know, slow down. Meanwhile, Mulder is back at the restaurant, just trying to decide what to do next, and he finally just gives up, and he gets in his car, or he finds a ticket on his car.
Yeah.
And he checks his app, which is another interesting thing. This whole episode was just all about apps and computers and cell phones and everything. He checks the app that he had connecting to the I guess the parking spot. I don't know. I've never seen this either, so it was telling him how much time he had left on his parking spot, and
it looked like he was fine.
This is not legit, so he just
tosses the parking ticket,
which is really funny because I just paid a parking ticket.
You don't get to do that.
I was like, hey. So he threw it away, and then he gets in his car, and he wants the car to play Prince.
And it's playing. What was it playing?
I forget it.
Some old song. Oh God, it's on.
Teach Your Children Well.
Teach Your Children Well. So it plays that song the whole time.
Which is also part of the whole theme of everything.
Yeah, and so it's playing that, and
he's like, "How do you get that from that?"
Yeah, from the Queen song that he wanted, the Prince song that he wanted, which I don't remember what it was, but he's and he's it's constant. Oh, it was controversy. It's constantly asking him. It's letting him know you have so much time left to tip your waiter.
Oh yeah, like throughout this whole episode, he's getting notifications on his phone. He said you have 3 hours left to tip. You have 2.5 hours left to tip, and he just keeps declining. He's like, what is wrong with you?
You know, which right away you know that
something is off.
At the end, no, right away you know how the show's gonna end.
Yeah, that is one thing I'll say about this episode.
That's why I feel like it could have been a 30-minute episode.
I think the second time it asked him if it wanted to tip, then we were immediately like, oh, okay, so this episode's gonna turn out how it ended up. Yeah.
He's gonna, he's gonna tip him, and everything's gonna go back to normal.
It's a very predictable.
It was very predictable, and it was funny, and it was entertaining. It was
really fun.
But it was not an hour's worth of material, in my opinion.
You know, that's what I thought when I saw it the first time, but after seeing it the second and third time, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So,
well, because for the bulk of the episode, that kind of stuff is happening, and they start to bring in drones.
You know what I enjoyed about it?
There's a lot of drones that start harassing Mulder.
Yeah, drones. I mean, and we'll get into that later. But I enjoyed the episode in the fact that it was showing us how Mulder and Scully lived currently. Like
you see Scully's house.
You see Scully's house. You see Mulder's house. You see you see certain things about their habits. Like she uses a certain hair cream, and it was just really cool in that way, and I really enjoyed that. So anyway, the car finally takes Scully home, and she gets out of the car, and she's totally disgruntled, and she's just upset for even being in the car, and the car asks her to rate the experience that she's getting out of the car. She's like, terrible, awful, never again. And the car just does the sad face, doo doo doo. Yeah. and so she gets in the house, and she does not see the car leave, but she just assumes the car is gonna leave. So she goes in her house, and she tries to get in her house, and the alarm goes off, and so we have another thing going haywire, and she tries calling the alarm company, and then they finally give her through her password, which is Queequeg. You guys, X-Files fans, if you're watching this. Do you remember who Queequeg is?
Queequeg?
Queequeg is the dog that she inherited from, and I forget his name, I'm so sorry, but the actor who plays in
It's not Queequeg.
Young Frankenstein, and he also plays in...
yeah.
It's the episode Clyde Bruckman.
I know who you're talking about. I'm trying to think... God, I should know his name, but it's slipping. Right. When I have to know somebody's name, I cannot remember.
So yeah, she inherited that dog from that episode, and there's a long history with Queequeg. But anyway, so that was a cool little tidbit for fans, and she finally gets the alarm set, and I don't remember what happens next. I think that we flash to Mulder. And he's on the phone in his house trying to cancel his credit card. That's what he's trying to do because he lost it, And he's being put on hold. And the hold music is also Teach Your Children Well, I think.
Yeah, it plays it also. It's Scully's place.
Right. Well, later on, so Scully receives this package in the mail from a drone. Right?
No, a drone drops it off.
The drone drops off the package.
Oh, and it's like
it's a
Roomba type thing.
Yeah, it's a maid. It's one of those electronic maids or whatever. So she tries it out, and she doesn't know who it's from. She puts it on the floor, and she tries it out, and there are several different things that happen in the episode. Like as far as she was at her house, and I think this is before she got the Roomba, but she starts trying to use a hair cream, and she realizes that she's out of it, and she throws it away.
It's like it orders her.
Right, her phone immediately pops up saying, "We know that you're out of hair cream," and so through this whole
something's watching.
This whole episode, Scully feels like something is watching her, and she's constantly like looking over her shoulder, and she's in a robe, so she like covers her robe a little bit. She's just. It feels like that in the world now. I mean, maybe not to that extreme.
Not to that extreme, but like...
It does sometimes feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, you get advertisements...
Like Big Brother
when you're on the internet
watching you, right?
Because you were looking at something somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's freaky. So, so anyway, so Scully gets the Roomba, and this whole time Mulder's on the phone, or he keeps getting visited by drones, right? Drones keep coming to them. And at first he thinks it's a kid is messing with him. Oh, yeah. And so he takes the baseball bat, and it's nice to see Mulder swinging a baseball bat.
Does he smash up one of the drones?
Yeah, he smashes up one of the big drones, and that's when a bunch of drones come.
Bunch of little tiny ones.
And try and attack him. And so we're constantly flashing to Mulder and Scully and what they're encountering. Yeah. And then Scully's with the Roomba that she finally got, and it goes underneath the bed and it pushes out Scully's vibrator, which was really interesting because I felt awkward, but I also found it hilarious. But my awkward part of me was a 90s kid watching X-Files and being like, why are we seeing this? But at the same time, it was funny and modern. So anyway, she looks at it and she picks it up and she puts it in her pocket. And then she texts Mulder and says, "Did you send me a Roomba?" I don't know why, or whatever it was called. I don't know why Mulder was...
It's called a Roomba.
Roomba?
But I don't know what they called it on the show.
I don't know why Mulder would send her that, or why she thinks he would send her that.
She just didn't know where it came from.
Where it came from, so
but
she was that.
Yeah. I think it was just scanning the whole apartment and everything. Because it was doing that, remember? It was... and I guess they do that. They roll around in your apartment, like scan the surroundings.
Yeah.
At least this one did. I don't know if the real ones.
The whole apartment.
I don't know if the real ones do that.
Which makes sense that like it knew what was going on in the apartment, the whole structure of the apartment. And then we found out it cuts to a scene of the Whip's car was still parked in the driveway.
Ooh, creepy.
And it scanned her whole apartment. So it was getting all this information, you know. And at one point, Scully's on the phone. She's trying to, I think she was on the phone and trying to figure out what was going on with the Roomba. I'm not exactly sure about that. I don't remember. But she's on the phone with them, and then her wiring system in the house starts getting out of control. Like the Teach Your Children Well was the hold music again. So that song was a theme throughout the whole episode. And she goes to the volume on her house setting. I don't even know, because modern technology, we don't have that, so I don't even know what that's called, but she was checking it. And and then she starts going into the living room or something, and the whole then Mulder shows up, and the door won't open, so Mulder's like, let me in, you know, and she's like, the door won't open, and everything's going crazy, and she smells gas in the house, and then she starts breaking the window. She starts breaking it, and then all of a sudden there's a blast of fire, which would have caught her on fire and killed her. So, but Mulder grabs her, of course, and
don't they end up in some other like place?
Facility? Yeah, in a minute. So
I like you know, like that's the thing. I mean, this could have been a 30-minute episode.
No, but I enjoyed.
You can cut to the chase.
I enjoyed all of the comedy. I enjoyed seeing all of the characters.
Okay, well, the bottom line, technology was freaking out on it.
So anyway,
sum it up. Good.
So then they go to they try to go to the neighbor's house to figure things out, but the neighbor's not answering. So they're at the door of the neighbor's house, and the neighbor has a camera on the doorstep to see who's there, because that's a thing now. I didn't know that was a thing, but I guess people do that. So I thought, you know, back in the 90s, that was only something that people who were paranoid did. That was it. They just had, like, you would go to the secret conspirators person's house, and they would have the camera on the on the outside of their house looking. Yeah. Anyway, so.
Let's not act like we don't have any security in our place. We got security everywhere. We got a big dog and a lot of cameras, so try not to tell everybody that
was a 90s X-Files
step on in.
And that's even in Stranger Things, which takes place in the 80s, they have that whole scenario play out too, where the conspirator is there and he has that. So anyway, at the neighbor's house, the neighbor, they show the neighbor lying in bed with their phone next to on their nightstand, and the app pops up and shows them that somebody's at the door. Well, you see Mulder and Scully on the phone at the door, but then the computer erases them from being at the door, and it just glitches, and then all of a sudden it's just the outside, like they're not there anymore, which was really interesting. So the computers, you know, the electronics, everything is just, you know, really trying to get Mulder and Scully. So after that, Scully realizes that they're tracking them, and they go to the, I think they end up in an alley or something, and she's like, they're tracking us, what are we gonna do? And so Mulder tells her that they're gonna go to this facility, which I don't really...
What was that facility?
I don't really remember why Mulder decided to go there, but it was a facility that controlled the electronics or the electricity or something.
What?
I'm not
sure. The electric company?
I'm not sure, but at the end of the episode, you see Mulder I don't remember if he's getting a message on his phone or if he's sending a message, but he's conversing with somebody who's talking about the facility and how they've been tracking people and like things like that.
Maybe it was the drone. Maybe he found that. I don't remember.
I would have to go.
Checked out and then checked back in, and they were at a facility.
This guy. So anyway,
it was a lot of the same thing.
Mulder said, get rid of anything that they would track you with. So they're taking everything out of their clothes that would have that. And then Scully throws the vibrator on the trash can, and Mulder's just like, what the hell? He like points at it, and he's like, what the? It's the best. It's hilarious. So anyway,
they put that vibrator in to keep people awake. Oh, is that a vibrator? Whoa.
Anyway, so they end up going to the facility, and I don't know why you think it could have been
Condensed because
it seemed
basically
while watching it,
the machines attacked and they were they could have just tipped. And everybody knows.
No,
from
but
the
get
beginning.
this. I know, but throughout the whole thing, it was just really
How many times does it have to ask Mulder to tip before he figures out, that's what's going on?
That's not the point. The point is that he did not want to tip, and I feel like he probably...
So you think he was just being stubborn?
I think
he knew the whole time that this was all happening because he wouldn't tip.
So Mulder's a really smart guy. I really do think he figured it out at least the second to last time before he asked it. Or
that's really sad.
He was kind of like, nah, it can't be. You know what I mean? He must have just, you know.
Okay, that makes it funnier, but still.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know if you missed it, but when they get into the facility and they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but I guess they're trying to shut down the place or something or talk to somebody. But this robot...
We don't even know.
This robot comes in, and I don't remember if it's the same chef from the place. I don't remember if it's the same chef from the restaurant. But he comes into the door. Oh! No. Well, one of the machines starts firing...
It was Johnny Five.
One of the machines starts firing bullets at Mulder and Scully, and Mulder's like trying to protect Scully, and it's this whole big thing. And then finally it runs out of bullets, and so Mulder smashes it with a chair. I don't know. And then so the robot comes in, and they're like, what's happening? And the robot hands Mulder his phone. And the phone says, last chance to tip. And then Mulder and Scully look at the robot, and they're just like, really? And then it's counting down on his phone, right? And the robot looks like it's gonna do something if he doesn't tip. So Mulder is waiting until the very last second, and you should have seen his face. I don't know if you saw his face, but he was like, man, are you serious? Like, he waited until the very end. He was stubborn as hell. Yeah. And then finally when the number went to 1, he pushed it, and Scully even looked at it and she was like, are you kidding me? Just do it. And then I thought he was going to have some kind of repercussion for only tipping 10%, but apparently he didn't.
I thought it was not going to work until he tipped like at least the middle amount.
But he tipped the 10%, and then the robot went away and everything was fine. Yep. Yeah. And the last scene we see is Mulder and Scully appropriately at an old school 1950s diner.
With people everywhere.
People everywhere.
You can see the chef cooking.
The nicest waitress, she was just there, and she was like, take your time, honey.
They were just soaking it up.
He was like, thank you. I think her name was Cheryl. They were soaking it up, and but then they got on their phones again, and then Mulder made a little comment about her electronic devices, and Scully said she didn't retrieve all of them. He said something like, it's nice that you retrieved all of your devices or whatever, and she said, not all of them. So So anyway, they get back on their phones, and then Scully realizes that they're on their phones again. After all that, they're still on their phones. So she turns her phone over, and then she grabs Mulder's hand, and then he just realizes, you know what, you're right, and he puts his phone down, and they just sit there holding hands and just like, soaking it up, like you said, and relaxing. And that's it. That's how the episode ended.
And I will say one thing about in defense of Mulder in this episode, because the tipping situation has gotten just as insane as the everybody on their technology situation.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that was implied there. Like, here you go into a restaurant, there's no people working there. The chef is a robot. Why are you tipping? If you're tipping, what is the bill for? You're paying for your food. What is the tip for? And I mean, even now there are places where you go and it's like, I'm ordering, nobody's bringing it to my table.
Right.
Why am I leaving a tip? For the person to take my order? For the person to make my order?
Right.
Then what am I paying for? The ingredients? No, because that would be less. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and And we forgot to mention one of Mulder's last lines of dialogue when they were in the facility after he had tipped and everything. He got another notification on his phone that said, "We learn from you." Like it said, "We learn from you." And then which
I think was about the tipping situation I just explained.
And then Scully said, and then Mulder turned to Scully and said, "We need to learn to be better teachers," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I really enjoyed the episode. Yeah. I really loved seeing their habits and their lifestyle and all of that. And I thought it was very shipperish, which we're going to come to in a second. But yeah, I liked it.
I just felt that it was lengthier than the story, you know. Like,
but do you think it was a good episode of X-Files?
I think it was a. You know what? You know my favorite show is DuckTales.
Yeah.
The original, and I like the new one, but I've only seen a little bit. But on DuckTales, there were about 2 episodes of the whole show where they had stories that were not 30-minute stories like the show, you know. So they cut them in half, and they had 2 stories in the episode. You know, rather than take a story that isn't good enough or, you know, meaty enough for the full length of time, okay, we'll put 2 stories in.
What I would say is when I watched the episode the first time, I had 2 feelings. First, I enjoyed the episode because we got to see all of the interactions and stuff. I guess I had 3 feelings. So that, and then also one of my feelings was that it could have been condensed. I felt the same way you did the first time I saw it. The third thing feeling that I had was that, you know, it was a good episode, but seeing as how we only get 10 episodes in this season, I was a little sad that they wasted one of the episodes on this episode. You know what I mean?
Well, like if it was good, why was it a waste?
Well, because you have many levels of good X-Files episodes, okay? So
you didn't feel like, well, because it felt like a webisode or something.
Right.
Like X-Files the animated series or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a side story thing.
But it's grown on me. Every time I watch it, it's grown on me. But
almost like a Super Bowl commercial for the X-Files.
I would say, see, these are how the episodes were starting to get in season 7. So I would say this was a good, solid season 7 episode. Season 6 was still.
Like it's like I say, I wouldn't say it was a bad episode if the X-Files was a 30-minute show.
I wouldn't say it was.
Like if this was a Twilight Zone episode, it'd be fine.
Well, see, I wouldn't have felt that way initially about it being just kind of a waste if we had been getting like 22 episodes in a season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say is that it was a good episode, but, you know, like, that would have been an episode that was tucked in between the meatier episodes.
Sure.
Like, that's one of the more fun-loving episodes. So, anyway, I enjoyed it. So, before we get to
It was a good idea, you know.
Yeah.
It was predictable,
okay. So let's talk.
If it had been less predictable, but I don't know how you could make it less predictable.
I mean, we figured it out like 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Or 10 minutes in.
This is over the tip, and he's got to.
I mean, yeah, and I'm sure many of you figured it out too.
If they played more on the idea that he just didn't want to pay the tip, like if he was just saying often, like, "No, I'm not gonna pay a tip. I don't care what you do," you know. I mean, it would have been more of a comedic thing,
right?
Because because otherwise, rather than just thinking he's an idiot because he doesn't realize that this is over the tip.
But honestly, if you were in that situation, would you think that? I wouldn't.
It happened right when it started.
Yes,
right when he wouldn't.
It's
tip.
so out of the realm of extreme possibilities, as Scully would say. I mean, would you really think that was happening?
I would. That's because we us, we stress over the tips. We're like, okay, I need you to, make sure I do this right and everything. And
no, but you think that the robots are going to come after you? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I would.
Okay.
I would expect, I overtip. I'm not going to lie. I overtip.
Okay,
and I don't make any money. I mean, right now I'm in between jobs, but I overtip.
Me watching a movie, yes, absolutely. I would assume that's what's happening, especially a sci-fi horror film show. But I mean, if this were happening to me in real life, I would be like, this is ridiculous.
If I went to the kitchen and saw robots cooking.
Maybe.
And I mean, they were full on 80s robot guy with the face.
That's so awesome.
And
with
everything.
a little blinky red eyes.
I would have tipped him just because that's cute.
I would have too. No, don't get me wrong, I would have
even
also.
though there's nothing to tip for.
I absolutely would have felt bad for the robots doing all that work, and I would have tipped them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would
That's
have.
true.
I mean, if it's not giving me my card, I would think, oh, it's because I haven't tipped yet. You know, I would think that.
That makes sense.
I mean, maybe not everybody would, but.
Anyway, so let's get into the shipper moments. So
Okay.
this
No, go ahead.
this whole episode was pretty shipperish, I would say.
Just because it was like a date. At the beginning.
And we were seeing how Mulder and Scully rely on each other and all that stuff. But so I picked out 3 major moments. And if you guys have any other moments that you saw, then please comment below and we can, add them to the list for a future thing. I don't know, we'll see. But so number 1 was the fact that it was date night for Mulder and Scully. They were on a date. They were having sushi.
Mm-hmm.
They were enjoying each other. Yep. So that was good. That was number 1. I thought it was really cute.
Mm-hmm.
The second one would be the whole. I would say it was the vibrator moment. Would be the second one, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Sure.
The moment where she threw away her vibrator on the trash can and Mulder almost gave her like a jealous look, and the fact that he revisited it later and he seemed really jealous by it. And then the third shipper moment would of course be the end when she grabs his hand and they're just holding each other's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very shippery.
Yeah, and it was really sweet. It had, the beginning and the ending, even though they were just on the phone at the beginning, it had a sweetness.
And you know what? I really enjoyed the way Mulder looked at her when she grabbed his hand, because it was almost like, this is not like you. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're a PDA couple at all.
No.
So for her to like grab his hand like that, he was like, what are you doing? But they sat there and they enjoyed each other. So yeah, for the shipper moments. I'm super happy that everything's going smoothly. Then I was reading online that somebody was really happy as well, but then they also tagged on their tagline of their article, they said, there's 3 more episodes left, and Gillian Anderson's not going to be in the future.
No, they did say, didn't somebody say?
I feel like
that they are going to keep going without her now.
They said they might.
They might. It's like I said, it's going to be the Mulder and Son show.
You guys, I feel like they're either going to
Fox and Son.
I feel like Scully's either going to sacrifice herself and die for her son, or that she's going to be abducted by sacrificing herself for her son. There is no way in hell they would recast Gillian Anderson.
They'll get, what's her name, from the lady that replaced Jodie Foster.
You need to be quiet right now.
Silence of the Lambs. You know what I'm talking about.
Julianne Moore,
Julianne
star
Moore.
with David Duchovny in Evolution.
Yeah.
I will kill.
Yeah. They can bring back Bambi.
No, they cannot.
They could bring in, what's her name? Everybody loves her.
If they bring back Diana Fowley,
yeah.
I would be so pissed off.
Oh, come on.
No, absolutely not. I almost have this weird feeling that Barbara Hershey's character is Diana Fowley reincarnated or something. Like she changed her appearance and she's now Barbara Hershey. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, if we find that out, I'm gonna be so pissed off. I don't know why I have that feeling.
They could bring in Regina from Once Upon a Time.
They kind of did that as with with Annabeth Gish, but she was playing partner to Doggett, so Robert Patrick. So,
they had that other character.
Yeah.
The
Agent Reyes.
Yeah, Reyes. And, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options.
There are
there's
a lot of
so many
possibilities.
So many options. There's
But
no
David
reason to end
Duchovny-
it just because of Scully.
David really wants to continue. Actually, I think he said he didn't care either way, but he would continue.
Wow.
He would continue though.
Yeah, I don't care.
I mean, he's like, it's so funny because back in the 90s, he was so like adamant about how he was never coming back to Mulder. And then Gillian Anderson was the same way, but she really, I don't think she's just doing it out of necessity, you know what I mean, at this point. And she's like, no, I'm done with it for good. And Mulder kind of David Duchovny kind of enjoys it now, I think. He's kind of like riding the wave. I think he likes it. Because he's also a musician too, so he's compartmentalizing his life, and he's like, you know, he's like, I have my music and I can also still act and be Mulder. But Gillian Anderson is such an actress that she just wants to have so many different roles under her belt, you know what I mean? So I think that's her deal. She stated that she wants to do so many other things in her life, so many other roles, but anyway.
Okay, we got battery lights, so...
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, let's do our little
this is the final thing of the
corner.
So X-Files fans, if you have not picked this up yet, you need to. It is The X-Files. Earth's Children Are Weird. It is a children's book for The X-Files, and Nathan gave this to me for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. Look at that. Look, it's Mulder and Scully's kids. And they're best friends, and they're hanging out. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, we showed this in the Christmas haul
We showed
video.
this in the Christmas haul video.
But
if
yeah,
you haven't checked that out
a
yet.
lot of people might just watch the X-Files video, so we thought we would show.
I mean, look at this. They're camping
show
out.
it for you.
And they're telling each other stories, and it's adorable. It's just a really cute book, and I love the pictures. I love the illustrations. I think you should check it out. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is illustrated by Kim Smith, based on characters created by Chris Carter.
Yay, Chris Carter.
What does it say on here? Yeah, Carter Smith. Okay.
Carter/Smith, which is interesting. Who
wrote it? Was
it?
it Kim Smith or?
Let's find out.
I doubt Chris Carter wrote it.
No, I doubt it too.
For Melanie and Jocelyn, and
it doesn't say who wrote
it.
It
Literally doesn't have a writer listed anywhere, so maybe it was Kim Smith, maybe it was Chris Carter.
Story and text by Jason Rekulak.
Oh, that's interesting. They kind of hid that. Okay, story and text by Jason Rekulak.
Yep.
Okay, well, cool.
You guys get this, and it's not that expensive. Right?
That's not that cheap.
That's not that cheap either. It's like 20 bucks.
It was probably 20 bucks.
It's 20 bucks. But it's worth it. It's so awesome.
$18.99.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So check it out.
Pretty cool.
And look at Mulder. He has a 1998 Mulder hair. the little
I actually wouldn't mind getting myself a copy. And they also had, they've decided to make these a series of books. So now they have a spine that has like a fluorescent like green, and it has little aliens on it.
They have E.T.
And they have an E.T. one. They have one that's, and it's the same art style, and it's E.T. And it also has a little spine, so they're making like a matching collection.
I hope they come out with like Jaws and
I don't know what they're gonna do. Well, they might. X-Files is they live.
Oh my gosh! They could do anything. It would be amazing.
Okay.
All right, guys.
So that's it for now, guys.
So like, comment, subscribe, and then check out our next episode. We have only 3 more episodes left. I'm gonna cry with Gillian Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's savor it up while it lasts.
Okay.
All right.
We'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.